So I'm going to start with our website. Hopefully you guys have been to the website. If not, I'll drop the link here. It's the Omniverse.city. And the first thing you'll have to do when you come to the website is you'll have to log in. Once you log in, you'll go to our explore page. Shout out to Jay Pilipovich on the call with us. He created this amazing little portal that allows us to kind of explore the Omniverse City as a member. Now, there's another screen you might have explored today when you were signing up. It's this little portal. This is something that you can share to anyone, even if they haven't created an avatar, been in Omniverse City. If maybe you yourself just want something easy, we're going to start keeping this updated. It's kind of like an interactive bulletin board of all the things that will be going on in Omniverse City. And we'll talk about this in the second half of our call. But this is your Explorer panel. It is where all of your controls exist for Omniverse City. It's where you can do stuff. I'm not going to go through everything here because we don't have a lot of time. We have a lot packed in, but I'll just quickly breeze through. This is where you go into the Omniverse City. This will spawn you into the main menu, which will bring you to New York City, Times Square. You may see this experience change dramatically over the next week or two. One thing I want to make sure everyone is very well aware of, and maybe you've never heard some of these terms before, but Omniverse City is in alpha. So that's before beta. You hear a lot of companies are in beta. We're about to go into pretty much our beta. Wouldn't you say, Jay, once we launch V2?
I'm sending it to the archive tonight, actually.
Would you consider that our first phase of beta?
Yeah, so alpha is when you have your basic concept, but you don't have a lot of the tools that you're implementing into it. Now that we have all the tools that we'd like to implement into it, and I can show everybody those tools later that we have coming, then we're going into beta. Now it's it's not going to have that final polish that we're going to eventually add to it, but it will have all the functionality that we're looking for.
And Omniverse City is where we are strictly because of our creators. If it wasn't for the people who come to us, by the way, when you hear the term creator, there's a lot of confusion around this word. I am not artistic. I'd love to be. I wish I could draw. I can't draw, but I'm very fortunate that I have brilliant creators, brilliant designers, brilliant just magicians like Jay and the rest of the Omniverse City team. So I'm able to dream out loud to Jay. We call this dream building. And I'm able to say, hey, Jay, what if we did blah? And it's Jay's job to make blah happen. Now, thankfully, blah is a lot more beautiful than the word blah. So I'll show you one of the things that I did this with. I actually went into AI. We've all done this, right? Show of virtual hands. Who has had the experience of putting a prompt in a AI-powered image generator and had that image generated? If you haven't done it before, there's programs like Midjourney, DALL-E. If you talk to ChatGPT, maybe you didn't know that it can make you pictures, but I strongly suggest that you get the experience of putting words in a prompt and seeing the picture that gets generated as a result. That very act of information to visualization, it's transformative. It's actually, in my opinion, a great way to learn how good of a communicator you are. And I believe that the one gift that AI has given all of us that we're not really talking about a lot in social media circles and on the news and throughout all the media that's being generated about it is it's really teaching us to become better communicators. How many times have you said something to somebody, AKA prompt? You delegate a task. That's a prompt, right? You tell a friend, hey, do this, this, and this, and then that other thing will happen. That's a prompt. Not always do people really truly understand us, and we don't really know what their perception is, but AI is always clear about what their perception is. So I think one of the beautiful gifts of Omniverse City is you could take an image. This was an AI image that I gave the team. And I was thinking Alice in Wonderland meets Dr. Seuss. That was kind of part of the prompt here. And it was about creating an imaginative world that was less real. Because if you watch throughout the rest of this demo, you'll see a lot of Omniverse is very real. But I wanted to start dipping my toe in Unreal. And so this is a convention center that we created for the optical industry. A lot of you know that's my foundation. And we just wanted, this was for an event that we hosted called I Wear Art Walk. And we just wanted people to dream bigger and imagine bigger. So that was the purpose of this space. One of the very first spaces we created is this one right here, Times Square. And it was actually the second space that we created. The first space that we created was a convention center. I could take you there, but you all know what a convention center looks like. Nothing super exciting about it. But I will tell you, for most of the people on this call, the virtual use case of a convention center is kind of like yawn, you know? However, we did have a virtual event in the convention center the other day. Rich was on this call, so we could talk a little bit about that experience. And you forget how accustomed you come to these virtual worlds. So I don't know if any of you has ever had this experience where you watch a movie with someone that you've seen 100 times, but now you're like, hey, wait for this point. Like you're excited for them to see that moment that's about to happen. I really believe that virtual worlds are very similar. Like you've been to them 100 times, you've seen the billboards, you've seen the stores, but now you get to bring someone in and you get to see it through their eyes. And I thought that this space wasn't incredibly inspiring. It was more about the functionality of it. We were trying to create easier accessibility to the brands that we're showcasing in a large format. And we'll show you that space in a moment. But people were very excited about their clothing, about their hips, about the ability to navigate from brand to brand. And I guess it just makes you really appreciate that everybody has a different thing that they're inspired by. So just taking a moment here, feel free to shout out loud. This is an interactive tour. Anything that anybody would like to share about virtual spaces they've been or a use case they'd like to see in Omniverse City. What do you think so far? Rich, take it away and let's let somebody else have the floor.
Yeah, and then if you wanted to, you could go back to the city and just walk through too. I think that also helps with the visualization. One thing I think that when it comes to the metaverse, that's kind of misunderstood. If you're looking at right now, we have a digital representation of Times Square. And for me, how my brain works is we can be able to take now, whether it's Kansas City businesses and pop those in there. Now we have the plaza, which is basically about to get redone. So taking things like 3D renderings that are already put out by architect teams and engineer teams, and then now being able to replicate that and showcase it to people, and then now be able to get public input. I know one thing in Kansas City, we had the big stadium debate, and if we were able to showcase the stadium and now get people to walk up to and see, parking is too far, or hey, I wouldn't want this in front of my favorite coffee shop, because a lot of us heard that a lot of businesses were going to get displaced and whatnot, but we didn't know which ones, or we just heard a general sense of it was just going to be a lot of chaos. So how I kind of see the metaverse is being a space to be a virtual sandbox to showcase both what the real world can be, but then also to what Charlene was mentioning, that you can have the imaginative side of things of now wrapping them with bubble wrap, or you can have a unicorn chariot going by or whatever it may be. But again, it's really just what you imagine to be. And then that's where the creativity of working with these different businesses and industries really comes to light. So just kind of showing to people that it's really not too much different from the real world, but at the same time too, it's also to how much your imagination kind of expands. Because I know for me personally, again, I grew up with Bill Nye the Science Guy and the Magic School Bus, and so that's where my imagination goes to. And so having things like education, which I think is a big thing, if we can be able to show things like code, showing things like coding in an interactive way where people learn what coding is, why it works the way it is. We have a lot of conversations around AI and understanding why LLMs work the way they do. We can be able to show that through visualization. So that's where I kind of see the metaverse really playing its role and then having many different use cases.
Well, thank you, Rich. Now, if you're watching this and you want to join, which we definitely do recommend you do if you're looking to be a part of the Omniverse City at all. And we'll talk about some of the different ways that you can get involved with Omniverse City. But Omniverse City has enough investors now. Everyone that owns a domain or owns a license is an investor. That is how we keep Omniverse City going. Our community is our financier. We are our financier. That means we don't have venture capitalists or investors or large companies coming in and saying, I'm going to buy a chunk of your business. And then, this is how you need to facilitate me. We want to be under the jurisdiction of our community, not of a sole individual or organization that wants to control what we're building. What we're building is very, very different than a lot of other platforms out there. The control is in the hands of the creator. So while I'm giving everyone a chance to teleport here with me, which again, I strongly encourage you to do, I'll see you when you come in. So it'd be kind of cool to watch yourself go from sitting in the audience to just teleporting into the virtual space with me. But while we're kind of giving everyone a chance to figure out how to do that, Jay, do you want to talk a little bit about the privacy measures and the things that we've done in Omniverse City that have taken into consideration things that have worked and have not worked in other platforms, and how we've bundled that into a solution to really make everyone, give everyone the tools they need to succeed?
I see Iro saying that she doesn't like the default standing pose. We're working on new player controls now, remapping a whole new system. So yeah, no, I was going to say I'm collecting all your data, but the difference between me and Facebook and Google and all that is you guys can access your data. You know who's using your spaces. If you want your data sets, just reach out to us and we'll give you your data sets. It's how it should be. It's your data, it's your space, it's your businesses. But a lot of the mistakes, like I've been in this industry, like when Metaverse came out, I was like, cool, I've done this before. Like I did Second Life, and before that, all the way back into the 80s, we had like one on the Commodore that George Lucas actually built. Oh God, what was it called? Habitat. Back in like 86 or so. So yeah, we've been doing this for a while, but it's always been in gaming. And the thing when Metaverse came out, Metaverse made some crucial mistakes. They overpromised, underdelivered. They had no business infrastructure for their creators to make a living off of. One of the big things that I realized during these metaverses as they were taking off, that these people were getting 50 million, $100 million in VC investment money, but they were expecting everybody to just work for free and just not have any way to even make an income on your platform. So that's a big no-no. There was no fun to it. The people that they were advertising to weren't bringing anything fun. It was just basically walk around, talk to people, then leave. Then crypto and all that got tied to it, and we all know the story that happened after that. Hey, look, there's me. But yeah, the thing about with the crypto and stuff, you don't base your in-game economy off of it, because we've done in-game ecosystems that took us decades to make stable. You don't let instability into a stable system, So we did kind of push back when that started happening. So yeah, we took a lot of that into account. The new system that we're working on, if you notice on the website, we have a marketplace. So if you're building an Unreal Engine or Unity, because keep in mind, we can host Unity spaces too. We've just been really focusing on Unreal Engine right now. But
and to Jay's point, and whenever you're in Omniverse City, if you want to go somewhere else, and by the way, all this is going to be changing dramatically. One of the things I wanted to do in the first part of this tour is kind of lay out for you guys the the map design of Omniverse City. So right now you are in the Genesis map, the Genesis level. There are multiple districts within Genesis. So you've got Times Square, the atrium, which is where we just were with the cars, the exhibition hall, which is where we just were with the booths, and then the Mint, which is our art district, and then the fashion district. So maybe I did that a little quickly, so you might have missed it, but in this chat, there is a link, which is right here, so that you guys can teleport to where we are. This is a multiplayer link. So once you get to Omni Folk and above, you will have the ability to create these links and invite your friends. And when you do, much like I'm doing right now, you'll notice as I'm teleporting from space to space, the team that's with me is kind of traveling with me. You'll be able to do that as well. And we've had as many as 30 people in these sessions. You can host multiplayer sessions to as many people as you want. There is a cost to Omniverse City. We're pixel streaming, so you want to be mindful when you're hosting a big event that you have an idea of who's coming, how many of them are coming, how long they're staying concurrently, and really how you're going to pay for that. If you have the ability to get 100 people concurrently in a space, we have AdSense as a revenue stream, so you can definitely generate some advertising revenue. We do have a partnership program there, but there are sponsors who will pay to put a vehicle or an avatar or something in that space, so that they can maximize on your ability to get multiple people together in real time. So it's very important to remember there are multiple revenue streams in Omniverse City. And we've really designed it so you can learn not just how to build these virtual assets, but how to truly monetize them. If anybody would like to come off mute and ask any questions or share any insights, I see the chat, so I'll kind of peek there and see if we have any questions here. But does anybody else have anything they'd like to share?
Yeah, I was gonna say thank you so much, Charlene and Rich and Jay, for having this tour. And I've been kind of watching you guys for a couple months here, and I'm really impressed that there's a metaverse being developed that's, not kind of mainstream like Decentraland or Sandbox or Cardano's thing. So this is kind of a whole separate project, and it's exciting to see that you can actually, do all these advertisements and branding inside the world. And I just saw you in a museum, and like I just imagined people at an art show kind of like putting up their NFT version of their actual physical art pieces. And that was really cool. Like you can then transact with tokens and a whole digital economy inside this museum here. So it's really exciting to see where this is going, especially for generations, people my age and younger, when they start putting on AR and going into virtual reality worlds. And it's kind of like a game. Yeah, they have their own little character, and they have their own economy they can buy things and travel to places in the world they've never been if they can't afford to go. And very cool, very excited.
Thank you. And actually, all of these are created by different creators, believe it or not. This is actually scanned. So this person actually owns this item.
Oh, wow.
And he wanted to share it. And if you look very closely, this is a real bust that he owns. You could see the wood. You could see the patina on the statue. That's a real object that exists in real life.
Look into Polycam. Polycam is a really good program. For iPhone because it has the LiDAR sensor. But if your phone has a LiDAR sensor, Polycam, you could set up like a white background, white poster board underneath it, put your 3D object on it, and it just snaps pictures as you circle it with your phone.
Oh, wow.
Out, and after some practice, you can get some stuff that's not bad quality for somebody just doing it in their house,
Yeah.
Well, and this individual, Nova Lorraine, a lot of you may know her. She's very active in the fashion circle. She was so excited about the fact that we had the optical industry engaged that she, wanted to design some NFTs to just showcase how she viewed eyeglasses. And her goal is to eventually get an eyeglass manufacturer to collaborate with her on design. This individual, I haven't seen him in a while, but he was a very big fan of Omniverse City for a long time. I can't remember his name. I don't want to butcher it, but he had asked me, he said, I want to create something for Omniverse City. What inspires you? And I'm going to get choked up and I'm not going to cry. I said, the children of the future. Like, I want people to know that, like, this is a safe place for kids to explore. If you realize when you come into Omniverse City, you come in solo mode. So you're never going to be introduced to people that you don't know, ever, 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 ever. And this is especially important. I'm a mom, I have a 10-year-old, is especially important for children. Now, we are in the process right now. Joshua, are you still with us? Is Joshua Berglund still on the call? Oh, he might have jumped off.
No, I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, hi. I'm going to brag about you a little bit. So,
Thank you.
So it's funny. We actually have 5 different clients that don't know each other yet that are all going to be collaborating on the same project. Some of them will meet each other. Some of them won't meet each other because let's face it, we're all too busy to have to try to sync up in real time. So this kind of asynchronous metaverse collaborative development, I don't know if it's ever been done before. I really don't. I don't know if it's ever been done before where an optometrist who works full time, who doesn't really have the time to meet during working hours, can contribute what he knows about perception and the human brain and education and children and vision development and raising money for kids to have a better pathway towards education for the future, can connect with an app provider that's developed a Web3 way, aka wallet, to receive funds for children for their future college, and they're working with universities and schools that can airdrop scholarships right into these wallets. And Joshua is a content creator that has been around the world. And Joshua, do you want to tell people a little bit about what you're doing with World's Best Mayor Experience?
That's not the name of it.
I know I butchered it, but you can correct me.
I'm very trimmery, but it's called the World's Mayor Experience. And
There you go.
essentially what it is, I wrote a book and a playbook that was designed for underserved communities to be able to monetize their gifts, talents, and intellectual property using all of the media tools that are available to us, which all of us here know that most of these media tools are, some of them are free or they're inexpensive. And then if you add this type of world to it, you increase your revenue opportunities. I mean, isn't it endless at this point? Because all you have to do is create. And the beautiful part of this world that we're going into is we're right in line with what the creator created us to do, which is create. And I believe that through opportunities like what the Omniverse has, we can pull people out of poverty, regardless of where you're at, especially in the global South. But all over the world, it will give an opportunity for people who are mentally ill. And forgive me, my speech is really screwed up. The reason I'm not on camera is because I have really bad tremors. And the longer I talk, the worse it gets. So to prove the point, I'm able to run an omni media organization simply because of these tools that are available. And even though I'm not able to do a lot of the things that I was still able to, that I used to be able to do before the tremors started, having tools like this allow me to continue to do or fulfill my mission. So if you have somebody that has cerebral palsy or ASD or some other condition, these opportunities with these virtual worlds and even media literacy as a whole have such an important role to play in the future in creating opportunities for yourself. So my whole thing is the opportunity that this presents for the rest of the world, especially underserved communities around the world. And that's really my focus. My book is Media Company in a Box. But I'm really struggling to talk right now. So forgive me.
It's okay.
But
no problem. No
but
problem. Thank you.
I'm so excited about what this will do for people, Omniverse City, and the opportunities that will create, and the generational cycles of poverty, and maybe even addiction, maybe even abuse. Who knows? Who knows the healing that this can offer? And that may sound dramatic, but again, without Omniverse City and these tools that are available to us, I can't imagine what my life would be like right now, because for the last 10 months, it's been suffering. But being able to use media has given me an outlet and a voice when my voice is being taken from me. So anyway, that's it.
You know, Joshua, I do appreciate you for sharing, and I appreciate you for being so vulnerable. And I think it's really important to understand that a lot of platforms had all the tools in the world to move in the same direction that we're moving in. But when you get these large infusions of money in your early stage of development, you lose control of your project. These people want a return on their investment, and if you look at like some of those early platforms that we all read it in the newspaper, postage stamp piece of property sold for millions of dollars. We're like, what? Just because you're next to Snoop Dogg? How much time does he actually spend hanging out next to you? Right? Did you see him mowing his lawn? And these were things that happened very quickly, and a lot of people made a lot of money on them, but there was no sustainability in those business models, and there was no logic in them either. There was really no definitive way to determine the value of this property over another outside of algorithmic designs that were created by these platforms. A lot of them have white papers that show how the money mechanics work, and that's great. But if those things don't work, now you're making an investment based on a cycle that isn't really predictable, and it doesn't even really have any true basing to it. We do not have a crypto architecture as a part of our foundational design. And the reason for that is we want everyone to be able to come in with a single email login and then decide if they want to transact with one of our domains that may accept crypto. That doesn't mean we won't accept crypto, and that doesn't mean we have any opinion about crypto. It just means that there's all different types of ways to transact using Web3. There's Ethereum, there's Hedera, there's, Bitcoin, and all sorts of, meme coins and stable coins and all ways that people want to transact. And there's tons of great platforms out there. We're partnering with a lot of them that have on-ramps and off-ramps so people can transact P2P without worrying about, okay, well, you've got Bitcoin, I've got Ethereum. I want to buy what you have. You want to buy what I have. How do we make that happen? Over the last couple of years, there's been actually a lot of technology that has solved pieces of the interoperability challenge. Hey, Jay, are you seeing this? This flicker? Never seen that before.
Your close out some of your tabs. Oh, well, no, you don't have that menu open. But yeah, it's a networking thing.
Okay. So
yeah, it cleared out.
Yeah. So, Omniverse City exists to be the core, the gravity, so that interoperability can exist. I'm going to show you something in a minute that, we're very proud of. Not a lot of people even know that we've done this. But a lot of you have seen Spatial. It's a platform, we're all aware of. A lot of us built there because I saw one of the questions earlier was asking, by the way, guys, I'm going to lose you in a minute, so we'll come back and sync up again. But a lot of you were asking, are we Unity? We're not Unity-based, we're Unreal-based. However, the team at Omniverse City, oh, there we go. So that was probably the flickering starting to get cranky on us. The team at Omniverse City understands that some people are not going to want to have to deal with hefty pixel streaming costs. Not everybody's going to have the ability to build a dedicated server. It is important that you understand the cost, well, we call it the return on attention. How much money does it cost for each individual to be in their space? How much time are they spending? How much of your resources are they using? And how are you going to cover those costs? We can't hide you from those costs by slapping a freemium license out there and letting you build, endless for free. I don't believe that's helping you. I don't believe you in doing anything other than spending a lot of time in a space that may not ever really yield you any results. The world teaches us to invest to get a return, and getting people to spend time on your platform is time that they're investing in you. So helping you to determine how and by the way, I'm about to kind of walk into Spatial here, but having them, invest in you is their way of saying, okay, we believe in you. We want to spend time with you. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, they've all done a great job turning their consumer into the product. And we all know that we're okay with that. We're okay with, the fact that ads are part of the program because we get great content from great creators. And, that's just a model that's worked for social media for so many years. But when people come into Omniverse City, we don't really have those algorithms driving things. We obviously do use AdSense, and we will have our own advertising infrastructure with our Quest advertising platform, which is more like a scripted journey than it is like a springing up advertisement everywhere. And that's going to be 360-degree immersive. We're going to be building virtual worlds. I saw your guides running around earlier. Marco's with us, and we'll be working with partners like your guides to deliver real-time experiences in real places, and then stay with the Omniverse City. So I just wanted to show you guys how seamlessly we can move from Omniverse City into spatial. So you can link your spatial space to Omniverse City, and you can host longer meetings in your spatial spaces instead of Omniverse City. But we do believe there's going to be a use case for people that want to build like super user hubs in Omniverse City. So I can meet you in any one of the platforms, Decentraland, Fortnite, Roblox, Spatial, my own platform. And then I can take you into a beautiful Unreal Engine world where you now have a membership with me and you get access to specific utilities because of that.